Thank you once again for inviting me over. What would I say? Just doing a lot of wonderful things all over the world, working towards development of humanity in the areas of most especially sports development, football management, football administration, and other businesses I'm involved in. So that's what I've been up to. Well, basically, the National Sports Commission is there to ensure that sports development is put in a proper perspective. There are a lot of papers, a lot of policy papers, a lot of things that have been put in place. So they need to go into it, look at it, and structure something positive out for the development of sports in the country. I'm sure they have all what it takes to do it, and the zeal and the power to go ahead and put those things in place. So that's basically what they need to do. How the implementation is key. And I know, well, one way or the other, they should have the wherewithal to do it. So I wish them all the best. Well, you see, I don't like criticizing. I think I've gone away from areas of criticizing, but the standard of the league is very poor, and they have to put all efforts together to improve on the league. Also, the technicalities of the game, the manpower. We have to, we're still doing what we practiced 15 to 10 years ago, so it's not changed. So all those things have to change. We have to go away from the mediocre ways of running the game and put in more investment in development of the game itself. In the clubs have to be, it's so sad that we in Nigeria prefer to watch the Premier League compared to the Nigerian Premier League. It's a sad story. I remember 40 years ago, you could go to the stadium and watch our local, amateur league, and there were standards. So there's no reason why we can't bring that back. It's the wherewithal, the willpower to do it, and the stem from, having to.
Hello and welcome to the maiden edition of Queen's Court, where we discuss the role of women in leadership and nation building. I'm Juliet Binite, Reverend Juliet. In recent times, more women have stepped into leadership roles, demonstrating empowering role of education, technology, and access to information. These women leaders have not only achieved remarkable success in their fields, but also played pivotal role in promoting gender equality and education reforms. Today, we will be looking at the role of women in leadership and the unseen barriers. But before we set the ball rolling, let's go on a quick break, and we'll be right back to introduce our guests. Welcome back. Women leaders already battling workplace stereotypes and seeking work-life balance found themselves shouldering more enormous responsibility in recent time. Hence, we will be looking at the role of women in leadership and the rising challenges. Joining me for this discussion is my sis, a big sis, but in this court, we will call you Lady. Lady Orochi Ogan, leadership consultant and the CEO of O'Neill, a global management firm focused on leadership. At my immediate right, welcome, Lady Orochi.
Thank you
to the
very
Queen's
much.
Court.
Thank you.
Made in version.
Thank you.
A pleasure
Thank
having you here.
I'm glad.
And of course, another big sis of mine, a wonderful, incredible woman leader, Lady Adeola Aziz. In this court, it's the Queen's Court, so get ready for that. A politician and a social entrepreneur, and of course, the founder of an NGO, Community Care Foundation, focused on empowering youth and women, and especially in agriculture, solving the hunger problem. And I just want to welcome you, sis, Lady Adeola. You're welcome to Queen's Court.
Thank you very much for having me.
We will be discussing these matters of women in leadership and the challenges. Yeah. And today's discussion is going to be focused more on the ideological issues of these leadership issues, because women and leadership is almost as if it's not something to go together. When you say women, it doesn't count leadership. So we want to have that discussion, understanding that women have been leading in the past. We have seen great women leaders. We have seen Queen Amina Ozaria. We have seen Funmilayo Ransom Kuti in the West, and we have seen Margaret Ekpo in the East. So even in Nigeria, we have women who have led and showed tremendous leadership. But they're also very minimal leaders all over, abysmal women in leadership in different spheres of influence. The banking sector is beginning to show up with great women as CEO at the top of the echelon of the bank. But however, do we have enough women who are going to occupy that seat the moment they leave? So this discussion is very important, especially to a new generation of women rising, with the issues of women leading both at home and at the city gate. That balance of things, we need to have that discussion. That's why it's important to have the discussion. I'm coming to you, Lady Adeola, and of course it's going to be the same, we'll dovetail to that same area of discussion on these rural women. Because of the issues of mindset, culture, educational background, and the 9 yards of the philosophy of understanding that women are also leaders, how do we navigate? Apart from education, training, let's say training, what is the intricate issues that you think is still limiting these women, even at the rural level? Let me give you an example. I was at a program where I needed to speak to some women. When they called me, I thought they were educated women, but I found out they were not, so I had to go into pidgin English a little bit. But I realized that these women have such capacity and role to play in the society. And they were complaining at the issues of the genital mutilation, the issue of the girl-child marriage. It was within the middle belt of Nigeria. And I was telling them, but you are a leader, you are women leaders. And they were like, no, what are you talking about? That's is the chief, is that this. So how are we going to go about, especially the rural Africa, because we have over 20 million women entrepreneurs, SMEs, and it's fundamentally women, producing, adding to the GDP per capita of Nigeria. Incredible when I saw that data. And yet we say we are not leading. Can you speak to that? And Lady Orochi also would add to that comment, because it's at the center of this discourse in its ideological and philosophical level. Because before we talk about specializing in areas of leadership, do we really want the men to still tell us to lead? Or can we just simply realize it?
You see, when you're talking about what you just said at the rural level, right, we need to understand that, like I said, most of them are illiterate, and most of them are controlled and led by their chiefs, the ballers, their husbands, and all of that. I'll give you an example. During the local government election, we had to have a by-election in one of my wards. And there was a particular woman who was very, very active, widow, 6 children, she was under 23. And I said to her that, why don't you come and represent the ward, because we needed you to be there. Somebody passed. And she said, yes. So I said, okay, we will support her, we will fund her, and all of that. Do you know that by the next day or 2 days later, when we reached her, we couldn't get her on the phone? And I actually paid somebody to go and look for her. Did something happen? What had happened was that her uncle, her late husband's brother, they balanced and said, how dare she put herself forward? Or she said she didn't put herself forward, that it was Honorable Adiola Aziz who asked her, because she saw the potential. She mobilized a lot for us. And she went into hiding.
Can you imagine?
Can you imagine that? So I now realize that what we need to do, we have to start the education from these male at that level who control these women.
Excellent.
During campaign, they're for you. They will do this, they'll support you, they say this is who we want. On the day of election, right, their husbands, the ballers, they would have given all of them. All of you, this is the direction you go. So when you have that kind of, I don't know what to call it, whether it's a directive, I don't want to use the word bullying or whatever, a directive from their husband,
that's what it is.
Whatever, to do this. So tell me, how do those women want to express themselves? By voting or deciding or taking choices or making decisions that they feel is right for them. It's not inclusive.
So we need strong advocacy.
We need strong advocacy, and we need to try and see how we can get the buy-in of these men who have a strong hold on their wives, their sisters, on these women, to say, look, this is your daughter. This is what will happen. And a woman at that level only cares for food on the table for the children and how the children will go to school. Once you can satisfy those two needs, right, a woman she'll thrive on her own. But when she doesn't have that independence of mind to make a decision by herself, hey, she's in bondage.
Wow.
She's in bondage, and that is at that local level. I saw it live and direct. So they do not have the capacity. They've got the competency. They do not have that capacity to take those decisions by themselves. So it's limiting, and it's patriarchy, it's stereotyping, and hey, why should you raise your head up to say you want to lead? Who's giving you permission?
Excellent. But in comparatively to that, let me even draw it back to even at the international level, we only have about 23% to 25% of women at the global level. So if the rural woman, the issue of that control, is it the same as the woman at the elite level who has gone to school, at least did her high school, or suddenly she disappeared? I have had friends who were probably acting before, they get married and they just disappear off the screen. What is it? Is it just the limiting factor from the men, or the psychology of the women themselves, knowing that now that I'm married, maybe I'm not called to lead?
Very interesting question. Very interesting question, because even before you asked it, I wanted to use a corporate example equivalent to the rural one that
Excellent.
I attended an HR meet and greet meeting. It was a people-centered thing, and the head of HR of a multinational bank came to talk to us about barriers and women in the corporate world. She gave a practical example. She said, if there's a general management or CEO opportunity in Côte d'Ivoire, and you call a man and said, go and prepare, we're getting you ready, you're going to be the CEO in Côte d'Ivoire, the man will jump, thank, and if you call a woman, the woman will tell you, this is an exciting opportunity. Let me go home and discuss it with my husband. This is what is going on in the corporate world. I'm not talking about rural environment. So these barriers are real.
Yeah.
But in the same circumstances, we now had another CEO from a bank that told us about intentionality and planning. She said she went into banking career and she was intentional. from word go that she was going to be at the top and nobody was going to limit her. It's not about feminism or women, whatever. She just had a relationship with her husband that helped her husband understand her and help her husband push her career. So she had a baby at the point they made her a chief executive officer for a bank in Ivory Coast or somewhere. She just, then there was not even GSM. She just planned, had 2 stable nannies, had a way of reaching out to them, you know, on a mini basis when she's doing her work. And she was able to do the assignment. She was able to take the position and enhance her career in the bank. At the point she was talking now, she was now CEO in Nigeria. So these barriers are real. And because I'm an SME person, when you mentioned SME, my body was shaking.
I can imagine, yes.
You see, so it's not an easy assignment, but if we're intentional, you need to reach out to them. It's a two-pronged approach. The first thing is that you need to sensitize the women. You need to get their buy-in. You know, you need to let them understand the benefits for them. It's not for me. You know, but you need to talk to them at their level. Speak vernacular. If you can't speak that vernacular, get somebody to interpret. Some of them do not. They understand pidgin English, I'm very good at that. When I get to my village, I start racking in Igbo language. What is important to me is communication.
Yeah.
So you reach out to them at their level and try and sensitize them, create awareness. Let them there's a paradigm shift that needs to happen. Let them begin. You break down the growth mindset in a simple way that will help them understand. That's the first step. Second step is to work with this huge, I don't know what to call them, husbands, chiefs, cousins, uncles, the male factor, you know, that is sitting over the female folk patriarchally, is to get them to understand. It's also a buy-in process, you know, have conversations with them, help them to understand. When you get into a rural environment, you get to the Bali. The Balis, I've seen people that were able to work and change an environment with the Oba. The Obas, recently, they're very literate. The Balis, even if they're not, they have understanding. If you get their buy-in, you just go out of your way, try and get their buy-in. Once you get their buy-in, it's easier to get the buy-in of all the other male figures in that environment. It is possible. I had listened to a senator that wanted to change something fundamentally from a sphere of influence, and it was genital mutilation. And she started, it was a Herculean task, but she was deliberate, she was planned. She started with the Oba of her village. Yes. She started with the Oba, continued having meetings until the Oba got the buy-in.
Excellent.
So when the Oba got the buy-in, she went to the youth. The youth got the buy-in and said any woman that is mutilated will not marry. Do you understand? So I'm giving this practical example to say that it's possible.
Societies have changed.
Yes, it's possible. If you go systematically, you will have a buy-in and there'll be a mindset change, there'll be a paradigm shift, and then you begin to make progress. By the time you're handling simultaneously the women, you know, and the male figures that are barriers, these barriers are real.
No,
that's why we need to be very deliberate about it.
I want to add to that contribution, especially for the current generation of women that we have. One of the things that I have also found out is that if you know you have the desire to leave, for goodness sake, when you are dating your spouse or your husband to be, please discuss it. Because some men will not entertain it. So you will not get in and say, when I marry, I will change his mind.
No, it's too late.
Because if it doesn't happen at that stage, you don't express your desire to him, and he doesn't support it at the beginning, it's not going to work.
That's the story. I can get up today, I'm going tomorrow.
Right. So getting the buy-in at an early stage once you know leadership is in your mind, it's extremely important. So that you know where you're going to. Because if they don't support you,
no, it's a problem. It's a challenge.
And at the same time,
married.
Yes. At the same time,
you're single.
Female politician again, if you go out there and you don't see your husband beside you once or twice, it's like, what is she? Is she here? You know the negativity that goes with it. I remember when I was contesting, I had to tell my husband at the early stages of my campaign, please be beside me. And they all definitely they enjoyed it.
Excellent.
You know, so it's important that they get the buy-in of their husband before the violence and the others and all of that.
Can I add something? Before you add, just for us to begin to conclude something, because this is a proof of what you have said. Because the data shows that there was a organization that financially outperformed industry competitors have more women in leadership. That the more women are in leadership, the organization's competitiveness increases and improves. And I always tell men also, if your wife is a leader, is an improvement to your social capital, is an improvement to your financial capital. As we wind down this discussion that is a continuum, it continues, because it's a very broad discussion. And we now see the reason why the discussion should happen, because the women quotient in the leadership role beside whether it's the husband or other men, is quite low. We still have them in all spheres of influence. We're having that challenge. So you can make your conclusive point of what will it take for us to increase the quotient as we wrap this up. Starting from her as she concludes her points, then also dovetail to that question.
My last words as we conclude.
Yes.
I was going to say that when it comes to marriage, I'm not deviating. I think that conversation should happen whether you want to be a leader or not.
Yes.
You need to let, as a human, because you need to let your husband, get your husband consent from the beginning to support you to be the best versions of your life.
That's it.
You need to.
That's your HR speaking.
Yes. You need to get your husband to support you to be, you are his helpmeet. You're there to help him to be the best versions of his life, but it's a partnership. He should also make a commitment to help you to be the best versions of your life.
Precisely.
And so if you have that balance at the beginning, it's easier to manage things. It's easier to manage things, you know, when you're in the marriage. And these are my last words. I keep coming back to, you know, move further and organize. You know, we need to be very strategic.
Yes.
We need to deal with the critical mass.
We need to evaluate. We need to have a dialogue conversation. This not just your output. Excellent. Science and environment. We don't come together as a team.
That's what we're doing. This is not a talk show.
Definitely.
I'm a solution bearer. I'm here to solve problems. That's why I came on the program.
Yes.
So outside this program, as we progress, can we come together and put up a strategic plan on what we can execute? And I'm not talking about high level.
Yes.
Let's go back, because my family has a foundation. I understand how to run grassroots issues. Let's go back to the grassroots. Let's start doing something.
Okay, thank you very much. Lady Adeolaman, as we conclude.
Yes. There's been a lot of talk about the value.
Yes.
About the value that women bring to the table.
Yes.
If they are there.
Okay.
If they show up, if they're there. Promoting women leadership is simply social justice.
Excellent.
It is inclusivity.
Excellent.
It is diverse critical thinking. It brings prosperity to the table.
Yes.
To the nation, to the community, to the society. So why do you want to leave 50% of the gender that makes up the workforce, that makes up the SMEs, that makes up who we are in Nigeria. Why do you want to cut them out of the equation?
Excellent.
It's like having an aeroplane flying with one wing.
It will never fly.
So it will never fly. So the earlier we start to realize that women leadership is a must, it's a task that we must face, embrace, be intentional, and ensure that anything that comes in our way, for those of us who are there, we advocate, lead. And what's the other word again? When you lobby, the men, that please, this is for your wives, your daughters, your sisters. Social justice is key.
Thank you very much.
Equity and equality is paramount.
Thank you very much. We must all remember that leadership is not masculine, it's human. And women's rights are indeed human rights. And every woman is called to lead, right from the home gate to the city gate. And once again, I want to appreciate Lady Orochi again and Lady Adiola Aziz to Queen's Court, the maiden version.
Thank you.
2024. Thank you for being with us. And thank you for listening. God bless you and bye for now.
My name is Muiba Wonu Folami, an indigenous of Lagos State, Ikorodu, to be specific. I was born in Lagos 86 years ago, and to the glory of God, I'm still alive and well, and trying to be relative in the cause of women. I attended primary school. I started at Ansarudin Alakuru School. From there to CMS Girls School, and then Queen's College, Lagos. From Queen's College, I went to the Portsmouth College of Technology for my A-levels, and then University of London for my first degree in law. The same university for my master's degree in law. I had, between obtaining my master's and my first degree, I was in Nigeria to do the mandatory law school course. I was one of the last people to do a 3-month course before it was changed to 1 year. I then went back to England for my master's, and from there to lecture at the University of Zambia. Back to Nigeria, I was appointed by Dr. Taslim Elias, the CJ of Nigeria, to the Commission for Advance Notice to Lawyers of Developments in Law. It was a commission funded by the Ford Foundation to keep lawyers abreast of Developments in Law. I was a director there. Then from there, I was admitted to the Federal Ministry of Justice. Right after being legal advisor to many ministries, I ended up as the Director of Public Prosecutions for the Federation. And after that, whilst I was the Director of DPP, I was appointed Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Lagos State. After retirement, I've been involved in social work, in religion. I've always had religion, but I spend more time on religion. I read, I watch telly, and I live a good life, to the glory of God. You see, when you begin to think that it was not until 2007 that women started to get equal pay in tennis tournaments. And it was something that was fought for. Little things like that does not add to equality. But when it was done, it may be small, but at work, even at work in employment, women are still discriminated against. And most women do two jobs. They look after the home, and they do the normal work that a man does in an office. Why I fail to understand this inequality in the treatment of women is that the work, the responsibilities in the workplace is not reduced for women, even though we do not want to be paid the same salary as men. It's a fight that has continued, and in that area, I think we need to do more to push for more recognition. Women have contributed immensely to the society. The men that are now resisting equal pay were brought up by women. That's what I do not understand, that they can think like that. We continue to push.
But how can we speed this up?
By bringing it to the attention of world powers, recognition by every country of equal opportunities, equal pay. I want to know, I want somebody to explain to me the jobs that women cannot do.
Yeah.
They've contributed immensely. Even in the new thing, IT, we're well at par with men. So I do not see the reason for it. Unfortunately, I did not experience it, because when I left university, I practiced law briefly in my uncle's chambers before I went to University of Zambia as a lecturer. There, my position was enhanced in the sense that I was a foreigner, and I got all the benefits of being a foreigner, serving in their service. Fortunately, in Nigeria today, the federal government does not discriminate in terms of salaries. Whether you're a man or a woman, you get the same salary scale, and you are promoted on equal basis. Kudos to the federal government, to Nigeria for that. But in the private sector, things are different. In some companies, this is the areas that we have to work on. because the job content is the same. Some of these facilities are available in Nigeria. I learned by being a member of the Society for the Disabled that every government body must admit a certain percentage of women and of disabled people. So most times this opportunity is not taken. They are bound to employ them. We continue to push for that to be implemented in most ministries. It's important because it's there. You have to take a certain percentage of disabled people to work in government positions. It's important that we work to enforce that rule in our society. When it comes to discrimination, Nigeria is way ahead of some developed countries maybe because through slavery, we faced discrimination right from the beginning. We now know how to resist it. But in my country, Nigeria, in the federal government, in the state government, there is no discrimination. It may happen in private organizations, but they must continue to push to let them understand that the job content is the same. Well, you see, traditionally, under our culture, women are in the other room. To borrow the quotation.
Yeah.
That's our society. That's our culture. It's going to take a long time to evolve. In my time, female education was not so-called popular. It's only the educated few that strove to send their children to school, their girl child to school. They end up trading with their mothers or going to market and getting married off early. But as education began to rise in our community, its value was seen by my parents and others of their contemporaries to educate the girl child. And I believe the society is benefiting from that. Amen. So we must continue to push for the education of women, of girls. I have fought that, when I read that, the certain state government has appointed look at our National Assembly, 4 women in the Senate. Isn't that shameful? And that is the society. We have to continue to push women up. Let these political parties know that we want women. Let us organize ourselves to continue to vote for women massively. I give kudos to our governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. His cabinet women is well represented in his cabinet. And I enjoy that. I love him for that. And I continue to urge him to do more. He's done a lot. I think Lagos State has the largest representative of women in cabinet. first of all, they have to project themselves in their office space, their workspace. Let everybody know that they are equal to the task. Let us organize. There's a lot of society groups and societies that cater for the interest of women. I believe now violence against women is reducing in the society because there are sanctions for such behavior. I must say that speaking to the organization in charge of violence against women, I was amused to learn that some men come there to complain and that they are also being violated and abused.